Hello, jewelry lover. My name is Bella Naiman, and I'm the founder of New York City Jewellery Week. Welcome to the virtual program for NYCJW25. The theme for this year's 8th edition of New York City Jewellery Week is Art-Worn, focusing on artistry in jewelry and how artistic intent informs the creation of adornment. We hope that you enjoy the programs that we have carefully put together for you. While this program is not live, we do welcome your feedback. So enjoy the program. Don't forget to sign up for our mailing list. Follow us on Instagram at NYC Jewellery Week, and hope to see you in person in 2026.
Hi everyone, my name is Longo Mulaisho Zensna, and I'm the President and Head of Strategy at the Jewellery and Gemstone Association of Africa, JGAA. It's a pleasure to join you today for New York Jewellery Week. We are the first association of our kind with a focus on economic transformation through jewellery education and enhanced gemstone education. Today, I would like to introduce you to the winners of our first ever competition entitled It's All in Our Hands. I'll hand it over and they can introduce themselves and we'll share more about the association and, of course, the competition and what it means to them and to Africa. Thank you. Khumo, could I start with you, please?
Hello, everybody. My name is Makwa. I'm the founder and creative director of 89 Curry Street. 89 Curry Street is the design and manufacturing company based in Ghana. I grew up in Janine, which is the capital, where there's Janine mine, which is deemed the prince of mines. It's a diamond mine.
Thank you. That's great. And Retha?
Hello, everyone. My name is Minnie. I'm from Pretoria, South Africa, and I am the owner and founder of Plus Designs Jewellery. I am a designer and manufacturer. I did my design degree at Tshwane University of Technology in Pretoria. And yes, for the past 17 years, this is what I've been doing with my life. Just making beautiful jewelry and trying to get South African designs out to the world.
Thank you. Thanks. And Olajumoke?
Okay, my name is Jumoke, and I'm the founder and creative director of the fine jewelry brand Jumoke Lagos. I'm from Nigeria, and I've set myself on the mission of telling stories of love, hope, and humanity through fine jewelry. You know, the story of us on this continent. And it's been a great exposure for us as a brand, to be part of It's All in Your Hands award competition that we just concluded. So it's nice to be on here.
Thank you. Thanks. And over to you, Mbako.
All right, my name is Mbako Baraedi. I'm the designer. I'm an accessory and jewelry designer by profession. I learned, proceeded to Milan at Politecnico da Milan, where I attended master class in accessory design. I am the founder and the director to MBK Jewellery BW, whereby we deal with jewellery. Just like Khumo, we do the fine jewellery and classic, but mostly sometimes we do contemporary jewellery. So as for now, that's the information I can give for now. Maybe along the conversation.
Thank you. And Stefania?
Hello, everyone. My name is Stefania Indelicato. I'm the founder and creative director of Amber Soup Jewellery, a brand that celebrates Africa through and through. I create pieces that celebrate the heritage, my heritage. I'm from Italian and Eritrean origins and was born in Eritrea and grew up in Sudan. and everything that I create is connected to celebrating Sudan's heritage, Ethiopian heritage. And really, I try and tell stories through the jewelry that I create. And it's been a great honor for me to be able to be part of this. So thank you.
We have two other participants, winners of our competition, who might join us online later on. We have Rapelana of Zita Designs based in Botswana, Venasho and Phiri, a jeweler assigned to a company called Jewel of Africa in Zambia, and he's also an independent goldsmith. So before we go into discussion with our panel of winners, I'd like to share a bit more about our association and our reason for being. We are the first association for Africa with economic transformation at the forefront through enhanced jewelry training and gemstone education. The quote you see on the screen is by Dr. Gaetano Cavalieri, who, as many of you will know, is the president of our global jewelry and gemstone industry, and of the World Jewelry Confederation, known as GEM. In his words, whilst Africa's resources are highly prized, we must not forget Africa's greatest abundance, its people. This is the reason for being of the Jewelry and Gemstone Association of Africa, to support and enhance the participation of Africans in their natural resources. Again, on our screen is another quote by Dr. Gaetano Cavalieri, and in his words, our world most definitely includes Africa. Indeed, in so many respects, the continent is our industry's motherlode. The question that I asked today is, why are there not more African jewelry and gem professionals in our global industry? It's a huge question, and I don't think it's down to any one of us to have the solution and map the African jewelry industry. I would also like to introduce you to our other patron, our founding patron for Africa, Dr. K.Y. Mbako, the founder and president alumnus of the Africa Center for Economic Transformation, based in Accra, Ghana. Dr. KY has over 5 decades of experience of city alleviation issues, as well as on a global level, having sustained positions within the United Nations Secretariat, the Economic Commission for Africa, and the World Bank. In his 5 decades of experience, KY has noted that not once has anyone proposed jewelry as a solution to Africa's problems of economic development. In his words, JIGA's mission of supporting sustainable economic development in the African jewelry and gemstone industry is on a path to growing the industry to be a significant contributor to the economies of Africa, providing sustainable livelihoods and increasing the participation of Africans in exploiting their natural resources. Again, whilst we don't have the answers to Africa's increased participation, bit by bit, with the support of our patrons of all on the school and the global industry, we can start to piece together a better African industry with significant participation by Africans. So who are we? We were founded in 2022. We're a team of jewelers, gemstone professionals, gemmologists, business people, educators, investors, and Africa development specialists with a shared mission and vision. Our mission lies in supporting sustainable economic development in the African jewelry and gemstone industry. Our vision is to see a dynamic African jewelry and gemstone industry with equal access to training, opportunities, utilizing natural and human resources available, developing skills through collaboration, and above all, and very significantly to us, acting with integrity at all times. Together, we are the rainbow beneath our feet, our trademark delivery of all of our offerings and services. We are keen supporters of gender equality, as our partners at the African Knot Center for Economic Transformation have stressed. Gender equality, meaning the increased participation of African women in economies on the continent, is one of the greatest opportunities for economic transformation. So I've shared about a bit about our association in a nutshell, and I'd like to talk more about our first ever competition. It's all in our hands. The winning pieces were exhibited this summer at the GEM Genève show in Geneva. Today, I'm joined with the winners of the competition, and I would like to congratulate them yet again for their commendable effort in being part of the first ever competition and sharing some of what the talent Africa has to offer. Thank you. Representing Botswana, we have Khumo Makwa, whose submission, the Mapula brooch, told the story of her heritage, more of which she'll share shortly. We had the Evoke earrings by One Rapelana, who uses offcuts of leather and brass and combines them to create these extraordinary pieces. We have Mbako Baraedi, an expert in computer-assisted design and designer, who inspired this piece of fine jewelry called Botswana basketry. From Nigeria, we have Olajumoke Oluwatunmibi with her mulberry collection of rubies and pearls and gold. Representing Eritrea and Sudan, and of course Italy, is dual heritage Stefania Indelicato. Her piece, 1,000 Flowers, tells a story of Africa, of Sudan, of slave trade beads, and more of what she'll share later on. Representing Ghana, we have Renee Benson, who created this beaded piece at a time when she had challenges as a woman, and these beads celebrate her triumph over challenge. We have Kathleen Toder of Ghana, who set up Sun Trade Beads in Ghana and was one of the founding members of the Ghanaian Bead Association. Representing South Africa, we have Retha Minnie with her stunning peacock earrings. And representing Zambia, we have Zambian goldsmith Venasho Phiri, who shares the story of the sleeping tree. You'll see from all of our entrants that they celebrate their interpretation of what it means to be African and stories from their childhood. I hope this discussion inspires you to see African through the eyes of the African makers. So for the moment, I would like to start with a panel interview of everyone on the call. So, Retha, let me start with you. What inspired your designs for the Peacock collection?
So, goodness, I actually started designing African-inspired fine jewelry back in COVID in 2020. We have such a rich heritage and country, and as I always say, African has a vibe. It has a sound. It has an aroma. It has color. It's vibrant, and we have a very rich history of traditional jewelry. But I've never really seen anything that is fine jewelry, that can be seen as luxury fine jewelry, diamonds and other gemstones. So I started creating a whole range. And my favorite piece is the peacock. That's my favorite piece. Even though the peacock itself isn't indigenous to South Africa, we've had them for generations in our country. And I also think there was such a nice symbol for me that even though not everyone necessarily comes from the same space, we all have the same heart. And peacocks are vibrant and they are colorful, and it blended so well with how I feel about South Africa as a whole and Africa as a whole, is the vibrancy and the liveliness of our country. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, it's quite ironic because our competition that we announced in October celebrates the peacock. And that's actually, as you know, the imagery we've chosen for our design dynamic competition. So thanks for that, Retha. So you've discussed the vibrancy of Africa, and you're from the Rainbow Nation, as it's known. Could you tell us about the jewelry industry in the Rainbow Nation and why you felt, even though you come from a country that's got quite a vibrant and quite an advanced jewelry industry, what compelled you to enter this competition?
Well, honestly, I also just noticed that, there's a lot of jewelers in South Africa. There's really,
Yes.
We are a lot. There's a lot of jewelers, but we don't hear about them overseas. We don't hear about them outside of our country. And I thought, it was necessary to try and break the border and get people out there and get people known. I thought it was important. Once again, it also comes back to that, celebrating what South Africa and what Africa can give to the whole country or the whole world for that matter. We have good jewelry designers. We have good jewelry. And you don't necessarily see it overseas.
That's a very good point. Thank you. And in a similar vein, Olajumoke, Retha has talked about Africans and the fine jewelry space. Again, as you're aware, our latest design dynamic competition celebrates African design, but specifically fine jewelry. Why do you think, I know we've had discussions on this before, but why do you think it's important for Africa and Africans to inhibit that space of fine jewelry?
Thank you very much, Longo. So, Africa is known for its richness. We have gold, we have the stones, but it is unfortunate, if I'm permitted to use that word, to have so much riches, but we're not partaking in the big conversations when it comes to these resources that we have. So we've been blessed so much, but we have just been on the sidelines when it comes to the transformative process and extracting most of the value out of these natural resources that we've been blessed with. So it is time for that to change. We're grateful for what, other parts of the world has done with our resources, but it's time for us also to be partakers, to be key stakeholders in this jewelry industry. So the gold from Osun State, for instance, in Nigeria, is very pure, it's very great, but it's not translated to wealth for people in Africa. We have some of the best sapphires in Taraba State in Nigeria, but it has not translated to wealth for the people of that community. So how can we be part of the process from mining to the finest version of that raw material that we get and be part of the people that can extract value as well at every stage of the value chain? So it's very important that we get involved and no longer be on the sidelines. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Thank you. Thanks. And I'm going to go over to the Botswana corner because I always am intrigued by the participation Swana people play in the industry. So we're fortunate to have 3 Swanas on the call, and I'd like to start with One. And first of all, One, I would like to congratulate you on your latest launch of your new collection and for your participation in Paris Fashion Week. So nice to have you here. So my question for you, One, your jewelry straddles more, less of the fine jewelry aspect, but still high end. Could you tell us of how and why you pitched your brand? in that way?
In that way. For me, it was more of an experiment. I was experimenting, and I interacted with a fellow craftsman. He gave me some offcuts, some brass offcuts. So I began experimenting, and it was just an intuitional process. Because before I just used leather to make jewelry, and now I decided to incorporate the brass with the leather and form a piece. It was more of it was a gradual process. And also I didn't want to, there's this stereotype of how African jewelry should look, that it should be colorful, it should be this, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we're more diverse than that. And I think minimalism is also something that is part of our creativity also.
Thank you. And I think it's very significant. And what we try to do through competitions is for Africans to come forward on their own terms, rather than, a perception, like you say, that African jewelry is colorful. It's always wooden beads or cowrie shells. I mean, all of those are important, but there's, creativity has no boundaries or geography. It's in everyone's spirit and soul. So thank you for that. And over to Mbako as a CAD designer. You've shared more about your cross-cultural experience and your time studying in Milan. Could you share a bit more about the differences you saw in the jewelry industry in Italy, a very established and old industry, versus the Swana industry? What were the key things that stuck out for you?
All right. I think I do understand the question. Thank you for the question. Me studying in Milan at Politecnico, it was an advantage. It was a privilege for me to go there, and because in terms of design and creativity wise, and in terms of culture, we differ a lot from Italy. Here in Botswana, we differ with Italians in terms of culture. Now talking in fact of jewellery and jewellery in Europe and jewellery in Botswana. We have different lifestyle, and we have different style on how we want jewellery. So my experience in Milan and my experience in Botswana is more than 100% difference, because when we come here in Botswana, we notice that us in Botswana, we have diamonds, we have gold, we have those precious materials, but we don't understand the value and the importance of those materials, because we never been taught about how to use and how to deal with them. But when you go to Milan, it's more comfortable because everyone wants to have a jewellery. And if in terms of creativity, in terms of designing, you will be much inspired to do anything that comes in your mind as a designer, and focus in something that will maybe trend or something that will be wear every day. So the challenges that I faced, that was the difference between my country and where I was studying.
Thank you. Thanks. And over to you, Khumo. I know that you have won awards like the De Beers Shining Lights Award. And the reason I put the Swanas in a group is the efforts the government and the industry in Botswana has made to support African jewelers or Botswana jewelers, I think is something that can play out across the continent, hopefully one day. Khumo, could you tell us about your winning piece, the Mapula brooch, and what's inspired it?
Mapula means mother of rain. It's Mapula in Setswana and Sotho. So it embodies both my heritage and my vision for the future of African jewelry design. in Botswana, diamonds have transformed our nation's economy. And the diamonds from the 18 karat gold jug represent resources that, when properly channeled, they can nurture and sustain entire communities.
That's really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Whilst we're talking about meaning, over to you, Stefania. Could you tell us more about your winning piece, 1,000 Flowers? Because I know it's riddled with a lot of meaning. So.
It sure is. 1,000 Flowers. So it's the ring. It's a ring that incorporates an 18th century trading bead that originally came from Venice, called Mille Fiori, and Mille Fiori in Italian means 1,000 flowers. And the reason why I chose that is because, one, it's part of a very large collection that I've been collecting over the years in Sudan. My mother and I had been collecting, so it's a special piece to me. But the reason why I chose that for this competition is it's an ode to the past, but it's also a way of remembering the past, and even not the nice aspects of the past. So, the trading beads have been used, they came into Africa by trading in the 18th, 17th century, and they were traded. They were traded for gold, for oil, for slaves, right? And it's hardly ever talked about within the jewelry industry when people are using those pieces. They're always called Venetian beads, trading beads, but nobody ever actually says their term is slave beads, because they would be traded for slaves. And I just thought that it's a part of history that we mustn't forget, that we must change the narrative of. And, it may have been centuries ago, but we know that still is going on. and that really the narrative is to be changed. And that is why I chose that bead to be part of the competition. And also for me, on a spiritual level, beads come in all different shapes and sizes and colors. And for me, they represent us, right? We as people from the world come in different shapes, colors, and we're all, strung together in a string of beads, and we're all, it really shows the importance that, for me, we're better together. We're better when we collaborate. We're all come in different shapes and sizes and colors, but we're all come from one source, and that's what I like to celebrate. So that's my spiritual take on the bead. But that was my part of the story behind the ring. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefania. And I know you were able to join us in Geneva for the GEM Genève exhibition. How was that experience for you?
I mean, it was amazing. I was honored. I was privileged to be part of that experience. And again, it really goes to show how, an association like JGAA that is giving the opportunity to small independent brands to have access to an international platform, to have access to learning, to have access to training, that wouldn't otherwise be possible. So it obviously gave me visibility, which I wouldn't have had if it wasn't for the association. And I think it's so important to, for me, it might be a bit easier because I'm in Europe, and I may have access to some bits of, training and learning, but a lot of people based in Africa do not have the same access to training and accessibility to platforms like that. And I think it's essential to have associations like yours that do the work that you do.
Thank you very much. So I think you've heard enough from me. So I really would like I will moderate, but I think I'd like to thank you all for being part of this competition. And I know we've met on different forums, but I don't think we've ever been together as a collective. to discuss our thoughts and feelings on the competition and obviously hopes for the future. It's a shame Venasho, Renee, and Kathleen aren't here, but I'm sure we can, amongst ourselves, I'd like to open it up and create some dialogue between us as a community here. Do any of you have any particular questions for each other? Go for it, Stefania.
I guess this is maybe a question for you. Have you found what has been the response for to Giga for being in GEM Genève? Because obviously I've seen it from a winner points of view, but for you, for the leader of the association, the head of the association, how has that impacted the association, its credibility in the international platform?
Ooh, that's a big question. So I think, as you saw, attending GEM Genève gave us a considerable exposure, thanks to the organizers and especially Nadej Tota. So I think what worked very well at GEM Genève, it's an exhibition with a difference. It's traditional in the sense that you have your big gem dealers, your sleek jewelry companies, but the designers village, I felt, for me, is what really brought it alive for us, because you're at the forefront of creativity drawn from around the world. It was the first time they had a representation from Africa. We were honored to find out that we were actually lauded as the guests of honor for 2025. So I think for me personally, it made it feel worthwhile in the sense that we've got this mission to bring Africa to the fore. I genuinely believe Africans are not behind. We've been doing this for centuries. And the opportunity to say, we've already been doing this, listen to our story, was very significant. And that was well received in the press coverage. I was fortunate to be invited to be part of the press conference. We used that opportunity to share more about our story. So I think it's a lot of storytelling. And I believe it's just the beginning. And it's a pleasure that we've been invited back to GEM Genève in 2026. So that's testament to what we're doing and what we've done as a collective, including all of you here. So again, thank you. And I think it's a work in progress, but we can only keep going. And as someone I used to work for told me, part of the job is in showing up. So it's important that we keep showing up and making our voice heard and talking through our creativity. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Very true. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And I think actually it's a good juncture because Nadej, one of the directors at GEM Genève, was going to join the school to share a bit more about her experience. She couldn't make it, but she did want me to share a few words. So she said that in summary, she would like to give visibility to emergent voices, to new perspectives, to the richness and diversity of talent across the continent. And it's diaspora. It's something that touches her personally. Her mother was born on Moroccan soil and her father is Egyptian. So for her, celebrating African creativity is not only a professional commitment, but also something that resonates deeply in her heart. She's very proud of the work we've done together for It's All in Our Hands and for the upcoming competition, Design Dynamic, which will also be exhibited in GEM Genève in May 2026. She says, I truly hope this is just the beginning of a long and fruitful journey together. So I think what we are creating, ladies and gents, is a movement because we keep moving forward. It's a progression. So I always invite you to give me feedback, whether positive or negative. But I think, again, Stefania, to answer your question, we've been well received, but this is only the beginning, so we have to keep going. So, yes. So it's been an interesting discussion, and whilst we still have time, I would like to flick to the slides and look at your pieces of work, and at least you can give us a bit more conversation on your design process and what these pieces mean to you. We've heard from Khumo, but it would be good to hear that much more about these pieces. So this is the Mapula brooch. Khumo, could you share what materials you used in producing this piece?
But, we've used 18 karat yellow gold, garnet, and natural diamonds.
Thank you. And is this something that, is it part of a collection, or is it a one-off piece? Was it specifically made for the competition?
This was specifically made for the competition, but the storyline, we are producing other collection inspired by the story.
Okay. Okay. So we look forward to hearing more about the progress of that collection, and it would be something that we'll be interested in learning more about. So, okay. And One, can you tell us what's the inspiration for the name Evoke?
It brings out a feeling of calm, of being calm. It brings a feeling of being of standing out, of evolving. Because this is actually from a collection called Echoes of Transcendence, which is about self-evolution. It's a self-discovery, so it's more about that. It's like I said, the design itself, it was more of an intuitive process. It wasn't. I didn't think too hard when I designed this piece. It was actually the very first piece I made using brass that I got from a fellow craftsman. And yeah, I just started to incorporate the leather in it.
Thank you. It's very nice. And Mbako, could you tell us what your inspiration for Botswana basketry was or is?
The collection was inspired by Botswana basketry, but the name of the collection was Hands of Hope. Why Hands of Hope? It was more than a jewellery collection. That tributes to the timeless strength of women connection and enduring power of love and care. So this collection was basically about basketry, how it's been made technique-wise, the patterns-wise that we use in Africa. Because most of the time when those people doing this basketry, they are not doing basketry in a single form, like they do it in a group formed like. So that's why I was inspired by the strength and the human connection. Look into the diamond again as the collaboration with the diamond, Botswana diamond, natural diamond. I thought this will bring a very big, a very inspiring collection through the inspiration and the theme that was being allocated by that time, because the theme was saying it's all in our hands. So basically, when I was looking to that story of basketry, how it's been made, look into the story of our natural diamond here in Botswana, it shows me there's a Stwana version that says, basically we mean the sun does not set without leaving a shadow. So if those people who are making basketry had a story to tell during not our time, long time back, so I loved the story, and I associated the story with the theme that was it is all in our hands. So that was the name of the collection, came from the Hands of Hope, which was inspired by Botswana basketry and the Botswana diamond. So the piece material was used there is 18 karat yellow gold and 1 hero diamond stone. It's a collection of 4, which is a bracelet, an earring, a ring, and a necklace.
Thank you. I like, sorry for the pun, but I like the way you've weaved the different themes, including the competition theme, together with a bit of the Swana heritage. So thanks for that. Thank you. And over to Nigeria. Olajumoke, what is your inspiration for the Mulberry collection?
So my inspiration is just to interpret one of the many personalities of Africa, which is resilience. I'm talking a story of a resilience here, whereby at the end of a tough journey, one of life's gifts to us after a hard time is resilience. So the Mulberry collection speaks to that. After a tough time, everyone is going to be. After a tough time, we'll all bloom. And the Mulberry collection is to remind the wearer that regardless of how tough things are, it's going to be beautiful at the end of the day. So that's the inspiration behind the story of the Mulberry collection.
Okay, and could you tell us what materials you used for this collection?
So with this, we used 18 karat gold, natural rubies, and pearls on it.
Thank you. Thanks, Kay. And over to you, Stefania. What was your inspiration? You've given us some insight into your inspiration. A specific question I would like to ask you is, when we've discussed this on numerous occasions, you've talked about jewelry and growing up in Sudan and going to the souk and what it meant for you, especially with Sudan not being the place of your childhood. Could you tell us how jewelry evokes memories that are no longer there in a way, physically?
Gosh, the whole reason why I started creating jewelry really was to keep close to my heritage, to keep close to home, to stay close to home. I left Sudan when I was, 18 and came to London, and I just was homesick, and I'm still homesick 25 years later, or however long it has been. So jewelry was my connector to staying close to my home. I started creating jewelry, nothing to do with what I studied completely. And that is what kept me, what kept me attached to home. And it's very poignant now because it's even more so for me because Sudan is no longer there, or it's everything that has inspired me, that the place where I collected many of these pieces is no longer there. And that is really very tough. So I'm even more in love with these pieces because I know the people who either handcrafted my ebony or the bead traders that, would come from Chad, who had become friends of, with whom we had developed a relationship with, both my mother and I, especially my mother. I wonder where they are, and I wonder if they still are. And so the everything that has to do with any piece that I have created, the materials that I use, whether it be ebony, whether it's amber, whether it's trading beads, it's very closely connected to a heritage that has been robbed and raped, and so for me to talk about it and for me to bring this ring to Geneva was an honor, really, to celebrate the beauty that Sudan was and still is in my heart. But yeah, it's a tough one.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that. It's a very moving account, and I think sometimes jewelry is symbolic of what we treasure and something we hold on to. So thank you for sharing that with us as well. So, okay. And we do not have Renee here. And as I explained earlier, this piece she put together was to celebrate her motherhood and the challenges she had, and to tell the story of how, as a single mom, beading and making jewelry was what enabled her to put a roof over her child's head. So we've all got different stories and interactions with what we call the rainbow beneath our feet. And through your various contributions, we've seen what jewelry does. It empowers. It allows us to express our creativity. It tells the story of different players on the continent in different ways. So it's, as you can see, all the entries are quite diverse. And it's the same with Kati. She brought people together to create a beading association. So, Retha, you're from South Africa, a country, as we all know, known as a rainbow nation. Your submission, the peacock, basically elicits that sort of colorfulness, vibrancy of Africa. I appreciate your submission is based on peacocks, but what made you hone in on that particular aspect of the peacock in creating your design?
So ironically, they didn't actually start out specifically as being peacock earrings. When I design, I love to look at architecture and patterned material. You'll notice even now, I never wear doll clothes. I can't. It's boring. So I love looking at patterns and how things work together and look together. And I love designing my African jewelry from shwe material. So the original concept of these earrings actually came from a shwe pattern that I found. And I incorporated, you'll see closely if you zoom into the earrings, you'll see that it actually mimics the African beadwork, the traditional beadwork that the earring is made of, even though it's in sterling silver. I tried to give homage to the African beadwork. So after we made them and they were done, someone said to me, "Oh, that's a beautiful peacock." And I go, "Oh, okay." So that's actually how they were born. Honestly, originally when I made them, that wasn't the first thing that came to mind, but that's how they are known now, because every time someone sees them, they are the peacock earrings. So I thought it was so funny that you start with something, and like many things in life, they just evolve into something different. And I think I actually love the fact that they became the peacock earrings, that they almost got a name all on their own, and not because I gave it to them, because that's what other people saw. And that's how other people perceived them. And I loved using the colorful gemstones in it because it's colors that I associate with Africa and with South Africa. And being the vibrant country that we are, I just thought it was like perfect.
Yes, it is. And it's funny, you don't know where inspiration takes you. So
it's I love the evolution of it. I do.
Yes. And I also think it's also interesting what the, if you like, the end consumer or others, because jewelry, like literature or anything or art, is very personal to the creator, but the interpretation sometimes is left in the hands of those that observe or admire what you've made. So, yes. One thing you'd have to do, could you explain to our audience what shwe is?
Oh, yes, sorry. So throughout Africa, every country in Africa has a very specific patterned material that they make their clothes of.
So every culture, every country has their own specific color and pattern material. So I didn't necessarily want to just use one specific one. So as mentioned before, these earrings are a part of my African jewelry collection, where I like to kind of throw everything together as a collective to celebrate everyone. And I wanted to, well, this one specifically was Shwe Shwe, and I think I love the fact that this one is the one that won because Shwe Shwe is South African. And I thought it was quite appropriate for this specific competition that the South African material piece actually got noticed.
Thank you. And how do you spell Shwe Shwe?
Oh my.
A trick question.
Shwe. SHWE. I'm not sure if it's 2 E's or 1. Shwe Shwe.
Okay. Well, thank you. So that's something new for even for me and for our audience. So thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. If you could just share in one word your hopes for the African industry, and I'll make a note of them and we'll take this discussion offline as we always do. Because like I keep saying, this is just the start. So if I could start with, I think we've lost Khumo. So if I could start with you, Retha, in one word, please.
Sorry, Lungu, can you just repeat the question?
Yes. What are your hopes for the African industry in one word?
Wow, that's more difficult than I thought. In one word. In one word. To thrive. I think that's just to thrive.
Thank you. And Stefania?
I guess the word that comes to mind for me is collaboration, doing things together. We go further by doing things together. So I guess collaboration.
Thank you. And Olajumoke?
To dominate. And can I expand on that?
Yes, I like it. Yes, carry on.
To dominate and meaning giving us the license to dream bigger than what we currently see. The boldness to dream of new frontiers, the courage to chart new territories, the courage to redefine our stories as jewelers, as the people with a lot of riches, and as we are rightly pursuing the rainbow under our feet, bringing it to the world to see that truly we are walking on the rainbow. You know, there's rainbow underneath every piece of soil, every piece of land on this continent. So to dominate.
Thank you. And One? You're on mute.
It's one word to describe the future.
Or your hopes for the African industry.
I'm trying to think of one word. It's more like a phrase.
Go for it.
That, like what I said before, that it shouldn't be stereotyped. There shouldn't be like a certain perception of how African jewelry should look, that it's more diverse. And another word, it being global.
And I think that's one thing actually that came out of GEM Genève. We had a range. Obviously, we invited 2 schools, one from Zambia, one from Kenya. And a few people did come to the stand and they were expecting African jewelry. And we said, this is African jewelry. So yes, it's a very important thing in terms of you can't stereotype talent. So that's true. And Mbako? You're on mute.
All right. As for me, one word I will go for celebrated. How do I mean that? I mean like it reflects on a hope that African jewelry in all cultural richness. So we need to celebrate our jewelry designs and manufacturers. At the same time, for centuries, African jewelry has been more than ornaments. It held meaning in identity. So I think we should celebrate our jewelry to the core, whether it's today or yesterday or tomorrow. We should celebrate our jewelry.
Thank you. And Khumo?
I would like to second Stefania on her point by collaboration. I believe Africa is a home to extraordinary wealth of cultures. So by showcasing African talent, whether in jewelry, fashion, or art, we allow the world to experience these unique perspectives and narratives. So doing that as a collective, showcasing African talent on a global stage, to preserve and elevate our stories, ensuring that the next generation of African creatives can continue to build on our cultural legacy or their cultural legacy. So collaboration. We cannot do this alone.
No, we can't. So yes, so some good themes to thrive, collaborate, dominate, not stereotype, celebrate, showcase, and again, collaborate. And that's what we continue to do. And for our audience at New York Jewelry Week, thank you for your time. To follow our association, please visit us at www.jgaa.africa. We're all on social media, so please get in touch with us at any time. And we hope you're able to follow. And if you're of African descent, whether on the African continent, the African diaspora, please enter our latest competition called Design Dynamic. Within that competition, we also celebrate the art of gouache. And again, just for the record, because I often get asked this, African does mean people of all colors, creeds, and races, as long as they're African. And African for our association also means people of mixed and historical African ancestry. So that includes, just to name a few, African Caribbeans, African Americans, Afro-Brazilians. So the competition entry is wide because we're inclusive and we want to collaborate and move the agenda for Africa together. So on that note, thank you very much. Thank you to Bella and her team. Thank you and goodbye, everyone. Thank you.